What's up and welcome to KplusGaming Corner, and in this video I want to share some thoughts on Redfall so far as I'm currently progressing through the game, still in the early stages. This isn't really meant as a review as I'm still pretty new to the game, just want to share some insights and my opinion on how things are going so far. The TLDR is I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as many are making it out to be, but there's also a lot of room for improvement where if Arcane and Bethesda do the needful, that phrase amuses me, we could actually have a very good game on our hands. There's an argument to be made that when a AAA title like this is released, it should already be in a state where it shouldn't need immediate patches and fixes to get it to a playable, enjoyable state, and I agree with that argument 100%. I'm gonna sound like the old guy on the porch here, but when I was growing up, you paid $40 or $50 for a complete game that worked. So the idea of a day one patch or seemingly unfinished games being released to the public for $70 seems ludicrous to me, as it should. And yet, we've all suffered through the Cyberpunk launch as well as others like Outriders to the point where we're being conditioned to expect these games to be incomplete or underperform for the first few weeks. Enter Redfall, a game I was slightly curious about, and when it was released I had it downloaded and ready to fire up as soon as I got home from work that day, but the reviews were so bad that when I got home I deleted it off my Xbox without a second thought. Not sure what made me change my mind, but a week later I changed course and decided to give it a shot, remembering other instances like Gotham Knights that didn't have the greatest reviews either, but that I ended up enjoying even if I didn't sink thousands of hours into it. I was looking for something new and something to hold me down until games like Diablo 4, Armored Core 6, and Remnant 2 finally hit the scene, so I figured, why not? I reinstalled the game, got through the opening scenes and storyline, and started exploring the world of Redfall. The town seemed pretty empty, but I could explain that away due to the deadly flying vampires hanging out all over the place, and I took my time deciding which character to start with, given that once you made your choice you couldn't later change your mind and go with another character without starting from scratch, so I ultimately went with Devinder only because the electric javelin he could toss at enemies looked pretty cool. For the first few hours I was enjoying the game and getting used to the gameplay, no issues until the first time I got kicked from the game due to connection issues. This has been happening more and more as I've been playing, and it gets extremely annoying when you're in the middle of a mission or otherwise have to start over again from the basement of the firehouse and find your way back to whatever it is that you were doing. This wasn't a good sign, although being a veteran of a game like Outriders, I could deal with this inconvenience and keep it pushing. I've been glitched out of other games I like Division 2 or Remnant from the Ashes, all games I absolutely love, so I figured this wasn't a deal breaker and I just kept going. Hopefully this is something that can be addressed though, given that this is an always online game and this seems to happen at least a few times each time I'm playing. Things actually got a little worse when I tried co-op play with a friend of mine. As soon as I joined his game I started dealing with stuttering issues that were making the game unplayable as I was warping around, and it didn't stop until I quit out of the game and signed back in. That definitely seems like it could be an issue going forward, but we'll see. Another thing about co-op play I'm not really feeling is the fact that if I was to join a friend and complete those missions with them, that progress won't follow me back to my game, which sucks. I feel like this is going to discourage co-op play as I'll now have to decide if the missions I'm doing, well, I feel like doing those all over again in my own gameplay. The good news though is that you do get to keep whatever loot and weapons you come across, so I guess that's something. When it comes to the story and the plot of the game, I so far have no idea what's going on, where the vampires came from, who these human enemies are I'm fighting, or why. This is because after the opening scene, it seems the story is being fed to you through random items that you find around the world that fill in the lore. This means you'll have to stop and constantly read these tidbits, which I've mostly been ignoring since, at least for me, I feel like it breaks up the momentum of the exploring and moving around the world. The story of the game isn't my biggest thing though, as there are plenty of games I've played and enjoyed quite a bit without really understanding anything about the lore. Shout out to Dark Souls, Elden Ring, and Remnant from the Ashes. To me, as long as the game is fun to play and the combat is tight, I'm good to go. Speaking of the combat, here is somewhere that, in my opinion, falls a little short. I found the combat to be a little awkward and clunky due to there not being any dodge or roll options, meaning if an enemy is coming at you, you kind of need to dance around them and constantly be on a swivel to avoid taking damage. And forget it if you're being attacked by 4 or more vampires. It could be entirely possible that maybe I just suck at fighting in this game, but that's just another thing that I wish was a little bit different. Now it is cool using those skills like the javelin, and I have this teleport ability and this backlight that I can use, but again, the combat could use some improvement. When it comes to the weapons, there seems to be a decent enough variety, some cool shotguns and assault rifles that are satisfying to use. But another early complaint I have, and again, maybe it's just me, but I find it annoying as hell to have to actually pay to restock your ammo. This is irritating to me, and while you can find ammo drops here and there out in the open world, it's not enough to offset when you're out of ammo and need to restock in a pinch. There have been plenty of times when I've completed a mission or coming out of a skirmish and have had to take my ass back to the safe house or the firehouse and have to spend my hard-earned currency to keep my stake launcher replenished. Not where I want my resources going, but whatever. At the end of the day, while this game has plenty that can be improved on, not perfect by any means, I have been enjoying my time with it as it gives me everything that I'm looking for in a looter shooter, including weapon variety, cool skills and abilities that can be improved on through your skill tree, an open world that's fun to explore, plenty of loot to find. The NPC and art style is a little bit strange to me, but that's just me. Otherwise, it's been a pretty good way to kill some time before much more anticipated titles are released. And there you have it, just some early thoughts on Redfall. I really appreciate you guys checking this out. Do hit that like button if you enjoyed the content, it really helps out the channel. If you'd like to see more or want a heads up or whenever I'm going live, make sure you're subscribed and ring that notification bell. I'll catch you guys on the next one, so until then, peace.